Hi, thanks for joining me for prayer today. The concept that we are dealing with is the idea of stretching. In what ways can you let God stretch you this week? As I was thinking about this, the story that came to mind, or one of them that came to mind for me, was from Elijah in 1 Kings. It's the story of famine has come to the land, and Elijah has been out by a wet place, but eventually the wadi dries up, and God sends him to find this widow, and God says that the widow will be able to feed him. And when he arrives in the spot where he encounters the widow, he asks her for water and says, "And could you bring me some bread?" And she says that all she has is a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil. And so she was planning on making the last bread for her and her son. And Elijah tells her, "Go ahead and make it." And then God allows that flour and that oil to stretch. It keeps refilling itself as they need it until the land is no longer dry. So what ways can you be stretched this Lent? Where do you see yourself needing to go? Do you need to stretch your body, like take up yoga or take up walking? Do you need to stretch your prayer life by spending more time with God, to be intentional about it each day? Do you need to stretch your theology, looking at the world from a different angle than you normally approach it? Do you need to stretch your television watching or your book reading or your movie and game playing? Do you need to try something that you normally wouldn't turn to during this time to stretch those muscles? So I invite you to join with me and close your eyes and to breathe in deeply and to release your breath. And I just want you to sit with that image of stretching. God, show us where we need to stretch. As we sit here for a moment with you in silence, in your quietness, resting in your peace, show us where we need to stretch ourselves. God, we lift up to you all those people who have to stretch all the time, who take a bag of rice and make it last longer than it should. And so we think about those who have to stretch their budgets to cover medicine and food and rent. We ask you to be present with them, to comfort them, God, we ask you to be with those who have stretched themselves physically because they've had such long work hours, because their body doesn't quite move the way it used to, because their doctor told them they need to exercise. God, we ask you to be present with us in these bodies we have, in the places that ache, in the places that need us to stretch just a little bit farther. Give us the courage and will to take care of our bodies, to live in our bodies. God, we ask you to be with all of us who need to stretch our ideas, to stretch our minds. Open us to new thoughts, to new sources of information. Open us all to hear a different point of view. Help us to stretch our minds beyond what is comfortable, to learn something new this week. Holy God, be with us as we stretch, as we grow and change, as we learn to listen to you with our body and our hearts, to listen to you with our thoughts and our ideas. Help us to stretch. Amen.